Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Tuesday, May 6, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. I will start with this weekly chart. We last week, Friday, closed just above this convergent channel area, and that is the 111.19 to 112.19 region all week long. We also use the same formations on the daily charts, and they change daily over to the far right. 111.05 is a classic example I'll show in a moment. But having closed above both the descending 3-4 month channel top and back above the 9-month channel bottom does indicate a likely 3 to 5 month rally into the low 150s. Now we're at the very earliest stages, which is the most susceptible to rejection. So, I have to be careful with how strong I'm expecting it. But I do think that if you're to play the market in this vicinity, if you were to say, are you going to go long for the next 3 to 5 months, or are you going to go short? It would be long above this area, 111.19, 112.19 on the weekly chart. Anticipating over the next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, 124.09 speed line resistance. And yes, the lower 150s in reach as we move into later year. And so let's take a look at the daily chart now. We can show similar structures here. You've got that channel bottom on the daily chart. The same channel bottom we find at 112.19 on the weekly chart. On the daily chart is this line here at 111.81. And we also have the descending channel top that I showed a moment ago at 111.19 on the weekly chart is on the daily chart at 111.05. You can throw any of those numbers in here, but we're going with the wider, not the real wide. I mean, 112.19 would be wider, right? So it's the 111 handle. Holding above this area maintains a stable dynamic anyway. And in fact, I think 123.64, the descending 2/3 speed line, is likely over the next couple of weeks. And as I say, as we continue into the third quarter, fourth quarter, the low 150s remain in reach over the next 3 to 5 months. Certainly, if we were to close above the 124.09 descending speed line on the weekly chart, and that's 123.64 on the daily I showed a moment ago. But if we close above this structure over the next couple of weeks, that is another sign of continued strength. And we could see that low 150s within about 2 to 3 months of closing above 124.09. Let's go with the upside here. I'm going to take a look at this chart. 115.10 still has meaning. That is the high of the low on the weekly chart. So if I go back to this chart, the actual move low that was put out in early April, the high of that week was 115.10, and we have yet to close above that on a weekly basis. A settlement today above 115.10, I think, should yield 119.88 by Friday's close. And then we're just sort of well on our way to reaching 123.64 over the next couple of weeks. A settlement then above 119.88 would indicate 123.64 within just another 2 to 3 days, where we can top out on a weekly basis, possibly into early June. By that point in time, we're well into May. We could fall back into the 111 handle, perhaps. But as I said a moment ago, closing above 123.64 would be a significant buy signal through June and into July. So that covers the upside pretty well. A 115.10 is a level that can contain intraday buying, and below which the 111 long-term support remains in reach. If we can close above 115.10, I think we have a good low for the week. 119.88 then in reach by Friday's close. So keep that in mind. Now, downside, if we happen to let's go with break 111.05. Breaking 111.05 on an intraday basis does allow 107.10 intraday. And I use the word allow very deliberately because it is possible, although what is probably likelier is that a settlement below 111.05 today would yield 107.10 tomorrow. 107.10 is very close to 111.05 in the overall scheme of things, may well contain, if that is a Wednesday low at 107.10, let's say as an example, then there's plenty of time for the market to rally back and close above the 111 handle support by Friday's close, back above this key area by Friday's close. If we wind up testing the rising channel bottom at 107.10 over the next day or two, and it would be an objective if we close today below 111.05. 111.05. And so if you're long NVIDIA and we close below 111.05, I kind of leave that to you. It depends on your tolerance and whether you really want to withstand a continuation down to 107.10, or whether you just want to lighten up entirely and exit a long position below 111.05. I mean, there's really no right answer to that. I will say if we close below 107.10 after having closed below 111.05, a failure to follow through on a classic buy signal, closing below 107.10 is an aggressive southbound pivot as we move into later May. Closing below 107.10, I expect 95 and a quarter within a couple of weeks. You could make the case for 95 and a quarter just with a settlement below 111.05. That failure is in itself a sign of weakness. But given these climbing channels, and the fact that this market is just sort of schizophrenic a little bit right now with the tariffs, yes, tariffs, no. What does tomorrow look like? There's not a lot of consistency. And so it's a bit like quicksand. And I think if we close below 111.05, that is sign enough to exit a long position. I think you go short, though, with a settlement below 107.10. That would be, I think, the best play. Until then, if you're long, we did have a buy signal last week. And as long as we hold above 111.05, it is stay long. Closing today above 115.10 should give you breathing room, and 119.88 within several days. So last thing I'm going to say, and is really a repeat of what I've already said, that in terms of anticipating 95 and a quarter over the next few weeks, that comes with a settlement below 107.10. And 107.10 is climbing daily. 111.05 is dropping. Over the next 3 to 5 days, the two converge anyway, making it less of a range and more of a single point as we move into later week and early next. Anything else to say? I don't think so. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. We offer a 5-day free trial on all of our work. A single subscription gives you access to 2 stock picks a week, daily triple Q, daily SPY analysis, weekly Apple stock analysis. The stock picks we carefully filter through. We're always looking for at least 20% moves on those underlying stocks. And the 8 to 10 minute video for each, we really sort of walk you through all the steps necessary for what is the timing, what is the proper conditions necessary for acting on a buy signal. And it's well suited for 3 to 5 week, out to 3 to 5 month position players. And we've done quite well, actually, with our stock picks over the last year and a half. So that is really all I have to say. I'm going to leave it at that for Tuesday's NVIDIA report. You have a great evening.